What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Procedurally Generated show. This is the show about the random history of video games. My name is Chris Weber. I'm here with John Carson.
Hello.
Happy Thanksgiving week, John.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving week to you too as well. It's going to be a little bit different for most people, but
Yep.
That's fine as long as people are staying safe and staying separate.
Yes, please don't spend the holiday with 35 people in the same room.
Yeah, make yourself a delicious meal, sit back, play some games, listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen to past episodes. Join our Discord to talk to all of our wonderful community. Join the wonderful community.
You just reminded me of the thing that I was just saying. I couldn't remember what I was going to talk about.
Good. Excellent.
So let's go right into that thing. John mentioned the Discord. We made some changes, some implementations.
Yes, we have.
And they're exciting. I've gotten some good feedback from people that are already in the Discord. We've broken up some sections into individual episodes. Now it might get a little messy here for now, but this is a way of showing some of the things that we've found throughout our research and the things that we've been kind of desperate to show off. So the Discord now, you'll find stuff from episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 3 is almost done, and then you'll see stuff from episode 4 on Friday, this show. Just fun little things specific to the individual episodes, kind of made to enhance your listening experience. So by all means, if you're not in the Discord, check out the show notes, click on that link, get in there, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, Chris has been working pretty hard on that all weekend. Sorry, I haven't really contributed to it yet, but you kind of have the vision for how you want it to be, so I'm kind of letting you take the reins on it.
Yeah, and the way it's set up is it's got a text channel for us to interact with whoever wants to discuss the episode or the individual games, but then there's separate channels that only John and I can actually put anything in on, but that's where we're throwing some pictures in, we're throwing some trailers in, some videos that we found helpful, any other random things that we can find. It just I think what it does is it helps make the episode a little bit more real.
Right.
It's and I hope it encourages conversation. That's one thing that we're really trying to promote is community interaction, and I think that this is a good way to maybe get the ball rolling on that front. And as we talk about community, we have to announce the winner of our first community selected game.
What were the choices for that again?
What were the choices? The choices were Super Daryl Deluxe for the PlayStation 4, Ribbit King for the PlayStation 2. Was that a drum roll?
It kind of my desk wasn't cooperating.
All right.
So
I admire the effort. Ribbit King for PlayStation 2, Family Games Pen and Paper Edition for the Nintendo Wii. Lily.
Wait, is that a Uplay game or U-Draw game?
No idea. It didn't get chosen, so we may never find out.
Well, spoiler.
Lily for PlayStation 4 and Brainbender for the Game Boy. The winner was Super Daryl Deluxe, with the runner-up being Ribbit King. So Super Daryl Deluxe will be the 5th game that we feature on next week's show.
Yep. Chris and I both went, what is that?
Yep. That's about how it went.
We'll find out.
Yep. Now the other 4 games will be returning back to the randomizer to hopefully be brought up another day.
I'd like to say I'm disappointed in our Patreon community for not picking Ribbit King.
It was close.
Could have. I know it was.
I don't know what Ribbit King is either.
It's about a frog. It's froggy things.
Okay. Then I guess context clues, I could have gotten that far.
Yep.
But
that's it.
All right. Moving right along. John, we got a short week this week. You've obviously got 2 brand spanking new consoles, tons of games to play.
Sure.
What have you been playing this. What have you been playing since we last? I was going to say saw each other, but that has been months and months and months
Yeah,
since last we spoke.
no, I've been playing a little game called World of Warcraft. I threw out the new consoles. I said, get rid of them.
Mhm.
Not new enough for me.
They'll
Uh,
never touch this.
yeah, I burned them. There's a ritual sacrifice
That was
involved.
too much. I still need a PlayStation 5, John. You should not have done that.
You don't want the disc one, so I figured this was fine. Uh, yeah, today is actually the day that World of Warcraft Shadowlands launched. So everyone is now in the afterlife of the World of Warcraft universe and questing in there. I've only played it for like 5 hours. It's very fun. It's very flavorful so far. And I'll probably have more to report next week on that. Other than that, we played some Final Fantasy XIV on Sunday
We sure
with
did.
the Cryophilic crew, which is also a lot of fun.
Yes, always a good time.
Yeah, and that's really about it this week. I don't know. I just haven't been playing much. Maybe I was overloaded the week before. But I was kind of prepping for WoW.
You were
Yeah,
looking forward to WoW. You've been looking forward to WoW for a
months,
while.
months
So
and months.
I was
So
very happy for you to have that in your
yeah,
hands.
yeah.
We found some people in Cryophilic who were equally excited. So you got to spend some time with some of the community members over there getting to
Yeah,
play the game. So that's
yep.
that's always fun.
hmm And I'm looking forward to playing with people some more.
There you go.
So, how about you? What have you been up to this week?
You touched on one of them, Final Fantasy 14. So that is a weekly thing that we were trying to do on the weekends, typically on Saturdays, but we had to move it to Sunday this week. But I am trying to convince them to go more than once a week because I
I
like that
think that
game
might
a lot.
happen. Actually,
It might
it
happen.
it sounded
Yes, let it
like
happen,
Exquisite wanted to.
my
So
man.
yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure people are leaning towards going 2 days a week at some point.
Yes, that'll work. That'll work for me as long as they don't choose Tuesday, our recording day, or Wednesday, my off day, which was probably what will
Well,
happen.
probably.
But I have been utterly infatuated with another game. I can't get enough of it. I haven't finished a run yet. But John, have you sat down and tried Hades yet?
I did back in early access. It was
Okay.
probably like 9 months ago
Okay.
that I tried it for the first time. It's very cool, but I kind of like played it for a good hour or two, and then I was like, I just need to wait until it's done.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone back to it yet. I've been wanting to. I've heard nothing but glowing things
Yeah.
from just about everyone I trust about games. So I've been watching your stream. I'm really glad that you seem to be enjoying it.
Yes.
Uh,
I was almost gonna just skip right over it. But when this week, since the last time we recorded the game of the year from the Game Awards, the nominees were announced, and I saw
mhm.
Hades on there, and I'm like, that's surprising. And I'd heard of the game, but I was like, I don't know if it's going to be for me. But then I'm like, game of the year, like maybe there's something I'm not getting.
Right.
Again, you can't tell by looking at screenshots. I don't even think at that point I'd seen video, but um,
And also, this year, because of all the challenges with development and the pandemic, this year's been a little bit thin for games. So I could see like, oh, they toss up a lesser known game up on the game of the year thing because some people might have liked it. Um, but that's one that has definitely caught on with a lot of people recently.
yeah, I am so happy that I decided to start playing it. I like I said, I haven't completed a run yet. I'm close. I've gotten so close, but the loop in that game is outstanding. You always feel like you're moving forward, even if you have what you would consider a less than stellar run. Something somewhere is moving in the right direction. You know that carrot on the stick is just always in view. And it's I get like a weird sense of nostalgia from it, but it's like more from the voice acting, which I can't really explain why that is, but it's just
I mean,
it's cozy, comfortable dialogue
right? Is it?
and super
Did you
well
play a
done.
lot of Bastion or Transistor
No,
or any of?
not really.
Is it Supermassive? Is that who makes it?
It is super giant.
Supergiant.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, Supermassive is a completely different company. Um, yeah, I know they use they have like an in-house voice actor who did like the narration from Bastion, and he played like the sword in Transistor, and he does something in he does a few voices in this game.
Okay.
So I was wondering if maybe that was it, but guess
Yeah,
not.
it's the voice acting is super well done, and it just I think the way the dialogue flows, it sounds great. But I mean, beyond the dialogue, the gameplay is super tight. Um, it's a I don't know if I want to say it's a roguelite. We did our research to figure out what that actually means these days, and I thought it meant something different, but I'm going to stick with it anyway. So,
Okay, we started. Well, yeah, no, that's fine.
um,
To fill people in, I have a problem with the term roguelite, and I feel like roguelike is should just be the all-encompassing term.
yeah,
That's the bare bones argument that I have.
yeah, and I thought I had a good understanding of what differentiates the two, and then John found kind of like what the actual definition is, and realized that I was not even close. But I still think my definition makes more sense. So I'm gonna just stick with it. I'm not gonna give the
Great.
definition though, because I realize that's just opening up. You know what? Let's do it. All right. So
Sure. All right, let me
roguelike
look this up.
in my brain, this is how I split the two up. A roguelike is something where you're always trying to progress further, but it's less dependent upon skills that you earn, abilities that you level up, things that you take with you into um, following runs. It's more just you learn the game better, you get better at it, and that's how you progress. Roguelite, which is what I was calling Hades,
Mhm.
it's what I would call like a Binding of Isaac, is something where you are doing the same runs over and over again. You do have, the procedurally generated aspect is in there. Hi-oh, plug in our podcast. Um, but what you do is you evolve your character over time. It may be very incremental changes, but you're always bringing something a little extra into the dungeon to give yourself a better shot at completing that run. And I liked that. I liked that definition. And then John gave me the real definition, and John, do you have that handy?
I don't, but it was something like they kind of broke down the elements of the game Rogue, which is what everyone's referencing when they say roguelike or roguelite. And
I didn't even
it's
know it was a game, by the way.
oh yeah, no, it's like a. Have you ever seen Rogue at all?
Nope.
It's very old. Everything's like ASCII art.
Oh, yep, I have.
Yeah, yeah. It's a wild game to look at. Um, yeah, it was like it has to have like these 10 criteria, and if it's like missing one or two, it doesn't necessarily discredit it from being a roguelike and being a roguelite instead.
Okay.
But there is a bigger chance of it being a roguelite if you are missing certain aspects, like a procedurally generated dungeon, permadeath, a predefined end, which I think is what roguelites would have.
Okay.
Let's see here.
So
Roguelite primary. So every time I look this up, I find a different article on this. So this says roguelites primary principles are procedural environment generation, which yeah, that seems right, and permanent death. Secondary principles are a predefined end and meta progression, which I think is what you were talking about.
okay. So all right, pieces of what I said are
So
there.
right, so roguelike. Oh, this is all of them. All right, random environment generation,
Okay.
permanent death, which
Okay.
just seems to be the rogue standard. It's a hack and slash. It's turn based. It's grid based.
Oh yeah, you started throwing that stuff at me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? No.
There's resource and item management, like food and healing. Non-modal, all actions are available at any time. Movements and attacks do not take place separately. Exploration and discovery, so that you discover the usage of new items. And the complexity, so you could pick or kick or burn a locked door.
Oh, okay.
So you have like options. So if you think of like something like Crypt of the Necrodancer, you know, like how you move to the beat, and you every time you move, like your enemies move.
Yeah.
That's the kind of turn based that they mean. Like
Oh,
every time that you move, other things happen at the same time.
okay.
So that game is more roguelike than Hades, right?
I
I like
probably.
according to these factors, like I don't like the roguelite moniker. I just think it overly complicates a genre.
I do. Yeah, I definitely agree that it's complicated. But I also think that it is worth. Well,
No, I guess
there's a
so.
distinction that should be made.
Sure,
I just don't know.
but
Choosing
it's like
roguelike and roguelite and choosing two words that have a single letter that is
right,
different.
right,
That's not a
and
good
people
way to
like
do it.
I feel like a lot of my disdain for it is people being picky about, oh, this is a roguelite, and I like if someone called something a roguelike and then someone picks it apart as like, nah, it's more a roguelite. Like I feel like that happens more often than it should.
You're just kind of like, shut up.
It's like just stop playing games. Just go.
Just play the thing. It doesn't matter what it
It's not
is.
wine. Like I get that people like to have distinctions, but like if you consider this compared to like a Metroidvania, which is also a completely made up term that a lot of people don't like, because it's too broad at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another subcategory of a Metroidvania. Like people will say something's more Metroid or more Castlevania for sure, but there's not like a. I don't even want to make up a bad name.
Well,
Like 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 what is the roguelite for Castlevania or for Metroidvania?
are you asking me to come up with a name for that, or like a game that would
Absolutely.
represent it?
Please help me out.
Oh God. Castle, Cassatrelite.
Sure.
How
Okay.
did I do? Did I do okay?
Pretty good. Pretty good. What about? Wait, didn't we come up with a clever
We
name
did
instead of roguelites?
a dub car, a
Oh, a
dub car
dub
game.
car. A
Yeah,
dub car.
yeah. So now they're just called dub car games.
They're just called dub cars. I wonder where we got the etymology of that word, dub car.
Mm,
I don't know. Anyways,
only scholars will ever truly understand.
if people do want to call them roguelites, just don't be a snob about it. But also certainly don't do it around me.
And that could go. Yeah, I mean that could go for a lot of different things. Call of Duty.
Sure.
Um,
This is a hazy IPA. It's not just an IPA. This one, this one's unfiltered. Excuse me. This one has hints of mango. It's a mango IPA.
and I'm over here like, it's a beer.
It's a bit.
I'm a
I'm gonna
drink it.
drink this. What's the alcohol percentage on that? Yes, please. Anyways,
So
sorry
yes,
for our little rant there, but yeah.
well, it needed to be said. Somebody needs to stop these monsters from using.
Chris, you were the one who did.
I know, I know.
Which you now have full permission from me to do that. That's fine. I'm okay with you doing it.
Okay, perfect. Yes,
Great.
I'm the only one. Nobody else can. Don't even try it. John's
Yeah,
listening.
everyone else has to call them dub cars. You call them roguelites.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so Hades. Super good game. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's on the Nintendo Switch, it's on the PC.
It's getting cross save soon, so Look out for that.
That'd be. I have not played it on the Switch. I have it on PC, but I know it's also coming. No, it isn't. No, we thought it was, but it's potentially happening. But there's no cemented plans for.
There's no official word of other consoles.
Yeah. Then the other game that I've been playing this week, which I'm not going to play anymore. You ready? You ready for this? Call of Duty multiplayer.
Wait, what?
What a broken game.
How's it broken?
But it's a game that's shut my Series X down twice. Twice for me. Well, actually, it's 4 times because it shut it down on my wife as well now.
Oh, sure.
And you know what? I just don't think I want to play Call of Duty multiplayer anymore. I think that our cryophilic Discord, we got into it a little bit today talking about this. Call of Duty, just kind of the Call of Duty culture, and the fact that this is the thing that drives me nuts about
Mhm.
Call of Duty games. I get excited about. I think of like when I played Call of Duty multiplayer back in the day, and I'm like, oh man, it was always so much fun. I didn't play much multiplayer in the last version of the game because I bought my PC,
Well,
uh,
Warzone.
and then I was just playing Warzone, and I
Right.
love Warzone.
Yeah.
So getting back into the multiplayer, it was worth the step back to look at how flawed multiplayer really is with Call of Duty, because what you've got is what 20 weapons available to you up front. You've got 50 attachments per weapon. That sounds awesome. That sounds fun. You can't use half of them. Not because you can't unlock them. Even if you have everything unlocked, there's this meta that follows that game around. No matter where, like how you play, some of those weapons you will not have a good time using.
Mhm.
And that's what is like driving me nuts. I like to snipe. I'm not good at it. It's just I like
Well,
if I want to
I,
play
I like to do it too.
if I
Hell
want
yeah.
to if I want to make a like, do a couple games as a sniper, I don't want to be just punished by, first off, the maps that are in the game do not cater to snipers unless you can no scope or quick
No,
scope.
it seems so. I haven't really played a Call of Duty multiplayer or Call of Duty in a while, and it always seemed like those maps were way too small for snipers, like in general.
Well, there was, they had there was typically a good mix, but the big maps now feel so damn cluttered that they feel like small maps. And the small maps, I mean, the small maps are I guess they're just small maps, and it's not just the sniping aspect of it either. There's just, there's guns. I mean, that games gets updates, left and right. Even before this game came out, every update that came out for Warzone would break the game in some new way. Um, they nerf weapons, they enhance weapons. It's every every big COD streamers got a new loadout that they're sharing because this is the one that's going to win you all of the fights. I just, God, I get so, I think I'm just sick of duty in general. I think with there being as many battle royales that have come out since the last time I really played Call of Duty multiplayer, I'm still all in on battle royales. I just think um, that's more my style of game.
Sure.
So I might be returning to Warzone soon.
Good. Well, I mean, they should be having that an update soon, right?
Probably, and then it would
For
work. So, because
well,
you can't make that game run.
I mean, you can run it on your brand spanking new Xbox.
Yeah, we'll see. Um,
It's,
I'm like
it's
hot now.
worked
I
on
got all
mine.
flustered talking about
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Well, let's calm down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Anyways,
Yeah. Any other recent games that you want to talk about at all? Did you beat Celeste this week, or was
I
that?
beat Celeste last week, so we talked about that
Okay,
on last week's show.
all right.
Yeah,
Everything's a blur for me right now.
it's a good game. I did try a game that's in early access that I definitely intend to return to. It's a
Oh
JRPG
yeah,
for the PC called Edge of Eternity. I liked what I saw, but it's got some work that needs to be done still.
totally.
But I could see that when that game is fully released, it might be my kind of game. So keep an eye on that. It's supposed to be coming out, I think, Q1 2021. At least that's what the roadmap states. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back to maybe Q2, given
I
the
I think
circumstances.
there's a pretty big update in December
Is there? Okay.
coming up. So I think they're adding like a new chapter or something.
Okay.
So I think it's like chapter like 6 or 7. So hopefully
I think
that
they've
seems
got
pretty
well. That's
far.
how they're rolling it out. They're releasing the individual chapters of the game. They have 7. I think it just came out, and then I think there's 9 chapters in total. They have 2, or maybe no 6 came out. Yeah, you were right. Seven is the next chapter that comes out, and they have 2 more scheduled for the beginning of next year. And then technically the full game will be released. Now I don't know if that's beyond those chapters. They definitely need to do some polishing on the front end, but
That's usually the last thing that happens for a game. So
yeah, but it looks to be a very, very impressive game, visually and everything, and it's only made by a group of 9 people. The development
oh
studio,
wow,
Midgar Studios. Obviously, you knew where they drew their inspiration from with a name like that. It's
Norse
only
myth
9
now.
people, so good on them. What they've got so far is pretty damn impressive in that regard. So I am
Yeah,
eagerly anticipating the full release of that game.
yeah, it looked really cool from what I saw.
But other than that, that's about all I've played. Anything else going on this week that you want to talk about?
No, I've just been playing some Magic. That's it.
Perfect.
Just doing my dailies. That's fine.
Very nice.
I played a little bit of the new Hearthstone expansion.
I didn't even know that
It's
those are still coming out.
pretty nice. They come out like every 3 or 4 months.
Ooh,
They added a new mode to the game called duels, and duels are they used to have like a mode called the dungeon run like a year or two ago, and that was you going through a roguelite um, where you would have a starter deck and you play through Hearthstone matches against the computer, and after each match you would get like either 3 cards to put into your deck or get like a passive skill of some sort. And duels is that same concept, only you get to like pick what class you want to go in with. It could be any of the Hearthstone classes, and then you put together I think like a 13 card deck with just you can only do one ofs for each card that you put in. But then you do the dungeon run. Um, you do fights against actual people instead of the computer this time. So everybody is actually uh, slamming their custom made roguelite deck against each other, and then I think you have like 3 losses that you can take before your run ends. But yeah, you still get like your 3 cards to add to your deck. You get passive abilities. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to spend an afternoon just uh, building up random decks that you couldn't possibly build for normal competitive Hearthstone. It's just a good time.
nice.
What's nice about that is I believe Duels is free, so you don't have to pay any extra money for it. You do have to have the cards to build your starter deck, but I think you can. I think eventually you'll either earn packs, like they added a new reward system, like a battle pass-ish type of thing. So you can get gold to buy packs and stuff through that,
Okay.
or win booster packs through that progression system as well. But yeah, check it out if you like card games. If you like Hearthstone and haven't played it in a while, like me, it's a good way to get back into that game.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, John,
Mhm.
this is where we ask everybody who has enjoyed the show so far and enjoyed past shows to please pop on to whatever platform you're listening to this on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Breaker, whether it's other ones. Leave us a review. Please, please, please. It's we're desperately trying to reach as many people as possible, trying to get some um, just get out there to as many people as we can, and that would be super helpful for us.
Mhm.
And then along those lines, very interested in getting some community involvement. I think the Discord that we've got that we've implemented, the way we're kind of enhancing each episode a little bit, um, is is a good step in that direction. The Discord is open to everybody who's bronze and above. So, well, actually, technically, it's open to everybody, isn't it?
That's open to everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have patron specific parts of the
Bronze and
Discord.
below.
Say that again.
It's available to bronze and below.
Bronze. Yep. Yeah. Everybody who pays for it. Sorry, you don't get it.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
We're flipping Patreon on its lid here. But yeah, no, we'll have patron specific things in the Discord over time. But this is one of those things that I think if you're a listener to the show, it's a way of saying thank you. It's a little extra work on our part, but I definitely think it does enhance each episode. So all of the content that we have for episode 4, the one you're listening to right now, will be up on the Discord on Friday, probably. Well, we'll see with the holiday. I think I can make Friday morning work, at least with my stuff.
Yeah, and I could probably help out this time too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just a way to, I see these things as I go. I pull them and I throw them in there.
Yeah, get some extra material in front of the listeners' faces to kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Some of the things that Chris has added have been like box art. Some did you do manuals? I've seen like pictures of discs. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I've been throwing the media itself in there. I wanted manuals, but those are actually harder to come by than you'd think.
Right, and that's one of my plans. A little bit later on, once we start doing, if we start doing a blog, people should sign up for the Patreon, and we can start doing some of the bigger side projects that we want to do with the show. But like since I've been buying physical copies of some of the games that we've been talking about the last few weeks, I wanted to scan in the box art, the manuals, so people could see that kind of stuff. Because manuals aren't something that we don't really get them anymore unless you're buying like a special edition of a game.
And it is a shame. I remember because in my hometown we didn't have a big store. We did. We had a Walmart, but like they never had a good video game selection. So it would always be we'd have to go to the next town over when I wanted to get a game. And the entire drive home, it's reading the back of the box, it's opening up the manual, and it's it's going through page by page on the drive home. And I have such a fondness for manuals and just that nostalgia and all that stuff. So I think that's the kind of stuff I really want to keep as part of these Discords.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Discord is not the only way to get a hold of us, though. We also have a procedurally generated. Right. Yes. So text me, call me, please. Anything.
Any time of day.
1 a.m. It's fine. I'll take it.
Okay.
No, we have a procedurally generated Twitter, PG_show. Go ahead, give us a follow. You'll get some show updates and the like. We have a email that you can send us any questions, concerns, comments, and that is pgshowinbox@gmail.com. And the big one is our Patreon. You can reach out to us there. Comment on the posts that we make. And as soon as this show is done, I'll be posting another community vote for week 6's community choice games. I think I know what they are. Do I know what they are? I'm not going to tell you what they are.
I don't remember.
I do know what they are. It's an interesting mix of games. I'll be curious to see how this one works out. This one's going to be a 4-banger instead of a 5-banger. Okay, we got 4 options this week instead of 5. So, if you want to have a say in episode 6, what games get covered, you can at least participate and try and to choose one of them.
Sure.
So yes, please reach out. Please be a part of that. But and then I guess we should probably continue to plug that we are both streamers. I stream a little bit more than John does right now. That may or may not change depending on his schedule, but you're welcome to pop into my chat and ask me any questions as well. I'm very welcoming to new people. So if you want to find me on Twitch, it's CW719, CDUBYA 719. And John, you can plug yours as well.
Yeah, my stream is John Carson Games. Yeah, I haven't been streaming as much recently. I realized last week that it had been a month since I last streamed. But also, we started this thing about a month ago, so
Yeah, he's
a
just been
lot of
saving
my
up for a good
mind
one.
space has been kind of on this and decompressing for a few days and then going back to this. But also, I had reformatted my gaming PC
Oh,
a couple weeks ago, and I had just remembered that this weekend. And so I'm like, oh, like if I do want to stream, I should probably get that all back and set up. So that's all set up and looking nice. And I recalibrated my OBS settings. That's all looking nice. Got some good feedback from listener of the show, Verdant Tree, who says that well, first off, says that the podcast sounds good to him, which is great, and that my stream looked smooth. So I believe he is in Australia,
ooh,
so having my stream look good from Minnesota to Australia was good. So I was all right with those results.
perfect.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's enough of the socials and the intro. I think we should get into this week's lineup of games because I think personally this has been my favorite lineup of games.
dude, we got a doozy.
Yeah, this one's fun. This one's I don't, the last couple of weeks we've had like the one or two, like mainly the one where it's been like, oh yeah, this is the one we came to talk about. But all of
Mhm.
these are it's a good mix, and I had a genuine interest in I think all of them.
Yeah, yeah. There was one where like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I think I know that name, but I don't know what it is, and I don't think it's going to be something that I would be interested in. And I checked in on it this weekend, and it is definitely something that I'm interested in.
Ooh,
So
I'm
we'll
excited
get
to
into that later.
I am excited to know what that is. But without further ado, why don't we go ahead and jump into game number one? Um, the the name of this game is the reason this podcast started. Not this name specifically, but names of this ilk. All right,
Yeah.
you hear this name and you think, what the hell is that?
What is it?
And you want
What
to know
are
more.
you? Yes.
So, game number one for episode 4 is a game called Tongue of the Fat Man. Tell me you're not on board right now.
I
There's
I'm on
nothing
board.
in this world that you want more than to know more about Tongue of the
Yeah.
Fat Man. Am
It's
I
like
right?
what is this? And this is a game that we picked these games back when we first picked out our original week of games because we
Yes.
wanted to work like 2 weeks ahead. We were originally doing the show with 10 games per week, and we cut down to 5. So uh, now in week 4, we finally get to talk about Tongue of the Fat Man for DOS, aka Mondu's Fight Palace for the Commodore 64, aka in Japan just called Fat Man, and aka known as Slaughter Sport for the Sega Genesis.
And I also found it called Red Belt.
Red for what?
Yeah, I think it was the working title.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so
Oh my
it's maybe you've played this game. Not no, it's Tongue of the Fat Man on the DOS version, but yeah, it has
yes.
different names across the board. Developed by Brian A. Rice Incorporated, published by Activision. It is a fighting game.
Yes.
Tongue of the Fat Man. I did not know that until I looked it up. Released in 1989 on
Yes.
DOS, Commodore 64, and the Sega Genesis. Obviously, like we said, under different names. So, um, I'd never heard of this game, but I did. It is playable on the online software library.
Mhm.
Playable being,
That's a loose
uh,
term.
yeah,
Um, if you think back to if you have you ever played a fighting game on a PC? using just your keyboard.
I no, not prior to
Okay,
Tongue of
it's
the Fat Man.
not great. I used to do it with One Must Fall, and it's not a good way of doing it. Tongue of the Fat Man does not alleviate any of those control issues at all. At all.
No, no, it
So,
doesn't.
um, Tongue of the Fat Man is a space MMA fighting game.
Yeah,
Uh, like
that's,
you, there's different alien races involved.
I have the back of the box. Do you want me
Yes,
to
please.
read that? All right. So this is how it's written out. Tongue of the Fat Man is an eclectic fighting game. Choose from different alien races, including human, with different abilities and fighting styles. Purchase weapons and devices and fight your way through multiple opponents to face the Fat Man. Some of the features include being able to place wagers on the outcome of the fight and the phenomenon of a special move being less powerful the more you use it to balance gameplay. Two-player head-to-head combat is supported. So yes, different alien races.
Yeah,
There's I think eight or 10 characters you can select, which was
yeah, yeah. I've
for
got the list here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, characters are Rex, who's a humanoid, Rubik, who's a cyber droid, Freezer, who's a cryoplast, Edwina is an Amazoid, Stump is a Bihusker, Slasher's a Razor, Rayzor, Behemoth is a Mammoth with another A in it, Puff Boy is a Puftian, Colonoid is a Colonoid, and
obviously.
Mondu, the Fat Man, is a celluloid and the final boss. That's the order that you fight things in this game.
Oh, so
Actually,
there's a decided order every time.
yeah, it's a single
Okay.
player mode. Progression follows the above list in order. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
the Genesis game actually has a 17 fighter roster with
Oh my.
uh, different names. Some of these are like palette swaps,
Okay.
but the only characters that are shared between the two are Rex, Edwina, Stump, and Mondu. Otherwise, the Genesis game has whole new characters for everything else.
Jeez. I should have spent more time looking at the second one.
Yeah, I've been kind of focusing more on the PC one myself. So
Well,
because
and
who wants to research Mondu's fight palace when you can research Tongue of the Fat Man?
then right. Um so yes, this game did have a unique feature that lets you wager on the fight before you start.
Yeah,
Um
it's a weird mechanic.
and then yeah, with those winnings, you could invest in weapons or devices or things that you could take into the fight. Now we talked about uh the controls on a keyboard in the software library. It turns out these controls are not good on a controller either.
Really?
They yeah, I liken them. You remember when we talked about Crazy Climber?
Yeah,
How just strange of a mechanic it was to climb a building.
yeah,
Take that mechanic and somehow implement it into a fighting game, and that's
yeah,
what you've got. You've got to hold you've got to hold it down and go like up and to the left to do like a straight side kick in and just like weird combinations
yeah. I
just to do basic moves.
so I played this pretty much immediately after we got that original list of games. So like the night that this idea was conceived, and all I could really do were like I could roll and I could like sometimes kick people, but like couldn't figure out what the actual controls were supposed to be. They were not intuitive, especially on a keyboard.
Yeah,
I probably
the
could have looked it up, but it didn't seem to. The buttons I was hitting weren't doing much.
the highlight of my gameplay experience was figuring out how to turn my character around.
Sure.
Because you can walk right through the character, and if you do that, you would think maybe you just push right or left to turn your character around. No, they stay facing the same direction, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to turn around. Um, but apparently, that's a pretty common problem. Is
Yeah, yeah.
is having that ability. So
It's weird to think about, but also like fighting games weren't that prevalent at this time. Like there was what like karateka or I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it?
what? Well,
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like it's not just karateka. It's
oh yeah, I think I always threw like a hard e in there, like karateka.
karateka,
Yeah,
karateka, karateka.
sounds good to me.
All right, great.
It's a game about carrots, right?
That's it.
Yep.
Yep, it's about carrots. It's a Bugs Bunny game.
The other thing, so with controls that are hard to manage, the game implemented another thing that um, you can't get by just with one move, because if you use the same move and your character blocks against the move enough times, it actually becomes they become invulnerable to it.
Right.
So if you were to just repeat punches over and over again, eventually you would hit them and it would do 0 damage every time. You'd have to change up your style, change up your attacks,
Yeah.
um, to
Which is
keep damaging them.
it's an interesting mechanic in like on paper, but I think
Yeah, in
in action
execution.
it just not it doesn't work well
Yeah,
at all. So
but
uh, and so one of the more striking things about this game is its art.
oh yeah,
Uh,
it is cool as
well,
hell.
like so like the box art itself is striking, which we'll put that in the Discord. But the art itself looks like some late 80s, early 90s, like gross out art. I think you likened it to like Garbage Pail Kids.
I get serious Garbage Pail Kids vibes from the art that I see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird, gross looking game.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
really twisted. I think the
like
character. Oh, sorry,
Mandu
go ahead.
looks real weird. He is a very large man who has a tongue in his stomach that like his stomach opens up and it's like a mouth.
Yeah,
Uh, the dude rubs his pecs
man boobs.
and boobs,
Yep,
his nipples in the opening video when he
yep.
booted up.
The
Uh,
like purple lips that look like earthworms.
yeah, this game doesn't hide its weirdness.
Yeah, it
Like,
is loud and proud, but I think it is. I I'm into that kind of gross out art a little bit. Like I think it's cool. It's really creative. It's bright. It's colorful, and
there's,
it's the
not a
characters.
lot like it.
Yeah, it conveys. Each character has a lot of personality. There's a character in the game called Doctor Cadaver that sells you the weapons and stuff like that, and I think he's got a really cool look about him.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's up my alley in terms of art. And so a couple things that I found about this game. Um, there was an entry written in fandom that says I couldn't find the reference link itself was led to a broken page. So I have to say this with that being out there, but I get it. States that the game is based on Episode 6 of Star Wars, where Mandu is essentially Jabba the Hutt, and
yeah,
the alien species are he's running this illegal fight pit or whatever, and that's the alien
right.
species. So that's kind of how the crux of the game was formed, and I can see it. I can understand how that connection would be made. Again, I can't verify that 100%, but when it was thrown out there, I was like, all right, that checks out. Um, the other thing, on the back of the manual that shipped with the game, there was a contest for people to send in ideas and sketches for a new character. Um, It ended in 1990, and there's a hint that says, "We'll decide if your challenger is outrageous enough to be on the Fight Palace's next fight card." So it hinted that there was a sequel
Oh
in the works, but it never saw the light of day.
no, no, it didn't.
But do you remember when video games used to do that kind of stuff? Just like, send us this stuff, send us, when mail was a thing.
Yeah, I remember more for like Saturday morning cartoons or like
Yeah,
Power Rangers stuff. Like I would get like the Fox Kids Club newsletter or something.
right.
I tried sending the Power Rangers a first grade school picture of me, and I remember just like gluing it to my letter, and just like I knew what, like when I closed it up, like the glue just like spread all around the inside of that thing. So whoever opened that up, at, like if anybody ever opened it up, would have to just like pry this letter open and find this glued up picture of a first grader. Uh, yeah. As for like video games, man, I can't think of anything that was so sure that there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, this game took home some pretty prestigious awards, though, John. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I think I did know that, but which awards was Mondu going for
Yeah.
here?
Well, I shouldn't say it took it home, but it was nominated for the following categories. According to CNET, sorry, what was that?
Respectfully nominated.
Right. According to CNET, it was credited as being one of the top 30 dumbest video game names. Okay.
Yep,
Prestigious.
sure. I don't know if I agree.
This one I had to think about for a while, but Mandu was credited as being one of the top 20 unsexiest sexy video game characters by UGO. And I'll have these articles
And
in the show notes. What's that?
came in at number 3 for that list.
That's a admirable placing.
High praise.
And then I think it's perhaps its greatest accomplishment, because this is a big deal. Like, you've got to work to get this. It was named one of the top 15 weirdest PC games of all time by none other than PC Gamer, the authority in PC games.
Uh,
That's an honor. Now
I think so.
we're obviously joking around a little bit, but Game Player's PC Strategy Guide actually gave Tongue of the Fat Man their 1989 Best PC Arcade Action Game Award. It stated that Activision's graphics are as wild as Fat Man's title, and the gameplay is more than satisfactory.
I will say that the visuals are ahead of its time.
For a 1989 game, the game looks amazing.
Looks great.
The second part of that, though, that the gameplay is more than satisfactory, that's high praise compared to anything else that I read,
Yeah.
or heard from any. Well, obviously, I'm not going to include my own opinion while playing the game in the software library.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was so. This is like a contemporary almost of. Yeah, I'll be lit up for this because it's probably not. But like the Intellivision or like the ColecoVision, like you were playing with controllers that had like number pads on them. So like control wise, it probably wasn't as complicated as some other games of the time.
yeah,
Eh, I don't know. I'm looking back on it with 30 years of playing games and not having played this, but there's a lot better playing games
yeah,
from
yeah.
the Fat Man.
This one is nowadays it is looked at as being one of the worst controlling fighting games that has been released. So,
Yeah. Well,
but I
cool.
still think it looks cooler than most that are released nowadays.
Fair. That's fair.
Anything else on Tongue of the Fat Man? I got some development stuff that I want to get into, but
I have a couple things. I was watching a video from LGR. Not really familiar with this guy, but he has quite a few
that's the same one that I have.
YouTube subscribers. But he was showing like the box and the contents of the the DOS version of this game, it actually came with two different versions of floppy disks. Like there's a 3.5-inch floppy and three 5.25-inch floppies. The like both of those sets of floppies have the full game, minus the 3.5-inch floppy. The smaller one that comes out of just one floppy disk is actually missing some of the sound effects and some of the backgrounds. So you kind of want to install it using the larger 5.25-inch floppies. The box also contained the manual, which looks really cool, and it actually had the copy protection for the game hidden in the stats of aliens in the manual. It also came with a Mondu the Fatman trading card, which had a full Mondu art on the front and then like stats and stuff on the back. And I thought that was a really clever
that's awesome.
insert for that game. So yeah, a neat little packaging for that game.
Yeah, that is cool. I wonder if any of the other releases came with anything like that. I wonder if that trading card was shipped in a Genesis box.
Yeah, that might be some further research. Yeah. Or if anybody listening knows, let us know.
But yeah, getting into kind of the developer. So Brian A. Rice, I mean, his company made games through the late 80s, early 90s. Some of these games include some educational Sesame Street games. Willow, now not the NES Willow.
The PC Willow.
Commodore 64, DOS, Amiga, Atari. Home Alone on the Game Gear. So he had responsible for some.
All right, I think I played that.
But then there's this one game that he did. John, did you see any of his games that he made? Anything that stood out to you?
Oh, I'm looking at one right now. It says Myst for the Sega CD.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
Wait, hold on. Myst for the Laser Active.
No, if you're looking right now, I want to see if you can. When you see it, you'll know it.
I'm looking.
I'm excited. This is worth it.
Never Ending Story. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Ninja Turtles World Tour. Am I not seeing this?
What list are you referencing?
I'm looking at his ASCII.
Oh, you're looking at his website?
I'm looking at his resume on this website. Trump Castle 2.
There it is.
All right.
Do you know what Trump Castle 2 is?
Is it a casino simulator?
It is a casino game, yes. But
is it based on Trump's Atlantic City failures of casinos?
I looked at let me bring up Trump Castle 2. Let's see. Trump Castle 2. So it on the cover it's got
there's a Trump Castle discount coupon in there.
Oh gosh.
Good until 4/30/92.
It is the all new official Trump Castle computer simulator.
Oh, wow.
So what you can do? Okay, yes, you can play the casino games. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because Trump Castle 2 might come up on our list, but you may also explore the Trump Castle's apartments, converse with its inhabitants, and even read the Castle Courier newspaper.
Wow.
Yeah. So he made a Trump Castle video game that lets you explore Trump Castle. Where is Trump Castle?
It's in Atlantic City.
It is
now.
Okay.
So it is now the Golden Nugget.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. I did not know that, but that's
yes.
This is just a strange time to be looking at a game like that. So it stood out to me big time. But yeah, those are the kind of games that he made.
He did a bunch
Yeah,
for
he's got a pretty.
it's mostly PC stuff. I'm not seeing a lot of console stuff besides like some weird like Laserdisc entries.
Yeah, and actually, in kind of a funny little follow up, um, Tongue of the Fat Man was
Mhm.
very quickly referenced in old internet cartoon Homestar Runner.
Really?
Yeah, when they would cut to the list of or the floppy game
Yeah.
holder floppies, one of the games that you see in one of the episodes is Tongue of the Fat Man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably why, like in the back of my brain, like this looks kind of familiar. Like what is this?
So yeah,
Weird.
just a nice a neat little Easter egg. But I
Yeah.
didn't see John. Did you see any way to purchase this game? I didn't. I mean, I guess
No.
I didn't look on
I mean,
eBay or
I think
anything,
you
but
could look at like the Genesis version. I don't think there's any like new like remastered way to play
no.
Mongoose
Let's see
Fight
what they.
Palace or
I mean, if you want
uh,
the original versions, you could probably head to eBay and see what they're at. But
what else? Slaughter Sport. I almost said Fight Sport. Hey, can I get that copy of Fight Sport, please?
but at the very least, this game is worth looking at just for the art.
It's
Um,
very interesting.
it is a fun game to feast your eyes upon.
Right.
Anything else that you have on Tongue of the Fat Man?
No, not currently.
All right.
That's it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Tongue of the Fat Man. John, why don't you go ahead and introduce game number two?
Game number two is it's originally a PSP game. We got the Xbox 360 version when this game was generated for us. It is also available for the PlayStation 3. It is Gripshift.
It
Uh,
sure is.
Gripshift is developed by City, and it was published by Sony Online Entertainment originally, but also Ubisoft and Red Mile Entertainment for other consoles, I believe.
I had Sidhe as the publisher for the 360 version. Does this?
Oh yeah, they could. Oh yeah, yep, that is correct. Yep, they self-published there. So yeah, this game is a racing platformer. It's almost like a mobile game, a puzzle game, mobile puzzle game.
Right.
It has some of those the mobile trappings in that uh, each level has like multiple goals that you're trying to get. So like three stars. Think of it that way. That you're trying to fulfill the requirements for to move on to the next level. Um, yeah. What would you say about Grip Shift?
Well, yeah, it was released in 2007 for the Xbox. I think it was out the year
Oh,
before, maybe.
it's 2005 on PSP.
Okay, 2005. Okay. So yeah, made its way to Xbox 360 in 2007 as an Xbox arcade game. Um, I looked at this game, watched some gameplay of it, and the first thing that I was reminded me of is an early attempt at Trackmania. I love the Trackmania franchise.
Which is weird because Trackmania was well into it was
was Trackmania
definitely
uh,
then.
was it out by then?
I believe so. Well, let me look it up quick, but
Okay,
keep going with your
but it
Trackmania.
reminds
Trackmania.
me conceptually, it
Sorry.
reminds me a lot of Trackmania in that you are, you're on these over the top courses, going for
Lots of
speed.
turns, lots of jumps, lots of surrounding environment that you
Yeah,
can kind of jump to. Mind you, you are in a car and you are just using regular car physics. You don't have any like jumps that I could like actual like button jumps
right.
that I could
But yeah,
see.
it's. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, "This is up my alley. This is something that I can
Mhm.
get into." Um, and I was excited to go online and find that there was a demo that exists for the Xbox 360, and I thought, surely that'll work on my Xbox Series X. It doesn't.
Well,
Um,
if you would have forked over the $10, The full game works on the Series X.
It didn't.
Turns out.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I wanted it that much.
No, which is fair. But that is if anybody does want to try this on current consoles, the full version does work on current Xboxes. I don't think the PlayStation one will work on the PS4 or PS5.
Yeah,
Um,
probably not.
no, but the if you do have a Vita or a Vita TV, I believe the PSP version should. I think there's a downloadable version of that game.
Could be.
Anyways, yeah.
So, um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, the way it's explained within the game details is Gripshift is a driving game with a twist. It combines racing with puzzles and even some platforming action. The game is built around a tour mode where the player must complete the stages one by one, clear these stages by driving fast to the finish, and try to top the times required to obtain bronze, silver, and gold medals. That is that you could put that on a Trackmania box and it would be correct. There are also stars to collect and hidden items in every stage to discover. That would not be on the Trackmania box.
No, it wouldn't.
All of the levels are afloat in the air, so if the player happens to drift off the course, the car drops into nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so you kind of touched on originally developed as a PSP game. It was then ported to the PS3 and finally made it to the 360 as an Xbox arcade game. And when it made its way to the 360, it did have updated graphics, improved controls, and additional content.
So, and that was they added multiplayer modes, more tracks, some deathmatch arenas. Interesting.
Yeah, they had like
And
car soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait, Rocket League too?
Yeah, there you go. That's right up your alley.
My God, how did I not play this game?
They do have things like billiards in there. I'm sure there's a few other mini game modes in there, but that was the one that kind of stuck with me. Yeah, this game's actually it's not actually. I heard back when this game came out that it's a lot of fun on PSP, and I for whatever reason never got it. And then when it came out on 360, people are like, "This game's fun. You should check it out." I never got it, but I picked it up this weekend, and it's very good. It's like the levels are short. There is a nice little challenge to it. Like if you want to play through the level like it's a race, you can. There's a nice little time attack that you can do with it. If you want to collect all the collectible stars, there's a nice challenge to that. You kind of have to control your speed a bit, which is nice. And also there will be like a hidden token on the environment somewhere that's like the Gripshift logo. And for some of those, you have to like get off of the main track and into like the scenery around it. Like there'll be like floating like mesas or little like rocky platforms that surround the track, and your hidden stuff is usually on there, at least from what I found. So yeah, you can. That's where I was kind of calling it like a platformer, or they kind of call it a platformer too. But also the puzzle elements of trying to get places that aren't on the track. I don't know. They do a lot of fun things with driving the car. You can drive the car if you want to drive the car.
Having played it, how does it? I mean, we've obviously come a long way in the last 15 years since it originally released. How does it control?
Controls pretty well, actually. It controls a little bit like Trackmania.
Oh my God, I'm going to buy this game tonight. Damn it.
So it feels like it sticks to the track. Like your vehicle sticks to the track pretty well.
Okay.
But like if you're going over like a pretty sharp hill, if you gun it, you're gonna fly a bit.
Yeah.
Very nice. Turns are. I never really got the hang of if there's like a drift or not, but there's a nice slide if you're going through a turn pretty quickly.
Okay.
It has a very, very nice feel to it. It's arcadey, but it also feels grounded at the same time. Like there are different vehicles that you can drive to give yourself different feels, I guess. If you're looking for speed or grip or whatever other intangible there is.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah,
Well, I think I've. Hmm. I'll have to reflect on this at the end of the show when we do our rankings now.
you should. You should.
But
Um, yeah. Is there anything that you found out about Gripshift's development?
um, I mean, not nothing too. I found a little bit about Sidhe, the
Okay.
developer, founded in 1997. It's also developed Jackass the game. Um, basically the same thing as Gripshift, I'm sure.
Excellent.
Speed Racer, the video game, which was a Wii release, that
Oh,
came
right.
both Jackass and Speed Racer, and the following game I'm about to mention, Shatter, all came out after Gripshift.
Oh, Shatter.
Yep.
Yep.
So they were
Yep. I remember
responsible for all of those. The Sid He Interactive is no longer it's around, but it's not known as that anymore. It's now known as Pickpock, which was actually I think it was a subsidiary of I don't know if it was Sid He or their parent company, but Pickpock is
that.
now taken over kind of as the name of.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of all that I found about the development. The other thing that I did find in terms of a reception, Metacritic has it sitting at a 72 right now, but when the game released, it actually got it got some love. It
Yeah.
was named runner up to Luminous as the most innovative design for a handheld game, which that's kind of a big deal. And IGN actually named it their game of the month for January in 2007.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Very.
a very it seems like a very good game. John, you've played it. I sounds like I very well might as well. Um,
We'll talk about whether I want to play it more a little bit, or at the end of the show when we rank all of these games.
okay,
But yeah,
perfect. But yeah, that's about all I've got on Gripshift. Again,
I don't really have much either. It's a fun puzzle game. You can kind of pick it up, drop it, uh, drop in for a level or two, and then move on to something else. It's easy enough to want to go back to, and easy enough to just kind of jump into whenever.
right, and
Yeah.
and I think these first two games of this week's show epitomize why I was so excited about doing this podcast. Tongue of the Fatman, I mentioned at the beginning where I saw the name,
Weird.
I had to know what it was.
Right.
Gripshift is the latter half of that. Gripshift is a game that I know I've heard of. I never tried. I'm revisiting it here in the year 2020, and I want to play it. I mean, this otherwise I never would have thought of Gripshift again. I never would have given it the time of day. So,
Yeah.
um,
When I first read Gripshift, I thought it was the game Grip,
I think I did
which is
too,
another
actually.
racing game, which was like a spiritual successor of, I can't remember what it is. Anyways, it's like it's a fast paced arcade racer where your car has giant wheels and you can drive on either side of your car and like grip to ceilings and walls, and that's why it's called Grip. Um, yeah, I thought it was that, but I was happy to find out that it was that game that I kept on missing for like.
Yeah, so that's again one of the perks of the show is just the idea that we get to experience things that we would have missed and have missed for 15 years. So, um, all right, let's move on to game number 3.
Mhm.
This game, a pretty recent release, came out in 2019.
Very recent.
The version that we got was it the Switch version?
Let me check real quick.
No, it was the
Version we got
Xbox
was
One
the
version.
Xbox One version. Yes.
So what game we're talking about is it's called Worbital with a W. Developed by Team Jolly Roger, published by Advanced Interactive Gaming Ltd. And Team Jolly Roger. I left genre blank because I looked at screenshots and I'm like, I don't know what kind of game this is, but I get it now. So I'm gonna call it a shooter.
It is a real time strategy game.
Oh, okay,
I
that actually
I
works.
think that's what it is. Um,
Yeah.
And man, it is a wild concept. And this is the game I was talking about earlier, where I'm like, God, like I think I've heard of it, and like you look at screenshots of it, you're like, yeah, that looks like a PC game,
Right.
like
Yeah,
a
I
like
looked
an
at the
indie
screenshots
PC
and I was like,
game.
I need motion. I cannot at all understand
Yeah.
what I'm looking at.
So looking at a screenshot of this, it just looks like a solar system,
Yeah.
and that's it. So like there's a star in the middle. There's planetoids orbiting around it, and like in some screenshots, it looks like there's things firing from one planetoid to another. And what Worbital is you control a planet that is orbiting around a star. Your enemy is another planet that is also orbiting around that same star, usually in the opposite direction. It's like you're clockwise, they're counterclockwise. And you are building different weaponry or shields, um, or other devices on your planetoid. It's just a 2D representation of the planet. So you're building stuff around the diameter. There's like 6 or 7 slots for adding buildings to it, and you're using those weapons to fire at the other planet. You're trying to destroy the other planet. So the basic loop of this is you build your weapons, you build your shields, and as you get close to the other planet, you shoot them, and then as you get further away, you kind of like rebuild and like restock your supply. And then as you get closer again, you start shooting them again. But there's different kinds of weaponry you can get. There's like nukes. There's more other higher tech artillery that you can knock planets off course and have them kind of fly around the solar system in a different way. And that includes other smaller planetoids that you're shooting for currency to build more weapons, or to blast them into your enemy's planets. Or you can blow up the sun and create a black hole to mess up gravity everywhere.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you can do in this game. Um,
John, do you have any history with the game Interplanetary?
no, but when I was doing my research, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that looks similar. And I did find an interview with one of the designers of this game, who was saying that, oh, it's on the PlayStation blog actually,
Oh, okay.
and it's Sasu. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sorry. Kempinen. He's a game designer at Team Jolly Roger. But he was saying that when they were making Interplanetary, it's a realistic planet to planet combat game with hard sci-fi aesthetic. So they wanted to stick with like realism with that game, and everything that they wanted to do that sounded fun and cool, like that would not be realistic, they put into this game. So this is like their wild representation of Interplanetary.
Yeah, it is. It is billed as an actual spinoff, and the quote that I had was, it's unshackled from the grounded and deliberate style of its predecessor, Interplanetary,
Mhm.
in favor of unrealistic fun. Like, how cool is that?
It's okay.
You've got this, ultra realistic game, that I'm sure I mean, I'm sure you put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort into it, but then
Oh yeah.
someday somebody just like spitballs like, what if we just did this, like just throwing something crazy out there that has nothing to do with the game, and then you build a game around it. Like, I love that.
It's super good. So this blog says it's like enter Worbital, the chaotic space artillery game where we could put anything we had previously held back on: planet explosions, spaceships, collisions, black holes. Same premise, different perspective. You could call it cathartic game development.
That's awesome.
Uh, yeah, once I found this blog, I'm like, oh yeah, that has to be kind of frustrating as a developer. Like you want to make something, if you're trying to stick to the actual boundaries of science and physics, and make something that's like hard sci-fi. And hard sci-fi is like really cool at times, um, but sometimes you want to shoot a rocket from one planet and then have that rocket be affected by the gravitational force of another planet or the sun and loop around those things a few times and then accidentally hit yourself with that rocket. That happened to me today when I was playing the demo.
Yeah, me too.
Um, yeah, this game rules. It's it's very cool.
Nice.
Uh,
I don't have too much more about the game itself. I played the demo and
yeah,
I enjoyed my time with the demo. I don't think it's a game that I'll probably be playing much more of, but you saying that it rules, you've probably got more to say about it then, eh?
yeah. So I feel like this would be a really fun versus game. Like the demo is an online demo. They start you off with like an AI opponent combatant to get the basics out of the way. But like there's different factions that have different strengths and different technology that they use. Um, like this game is another one of those games that we find that looks like kind of shallow at first, but it's like super deep. This kind of falls in the same line as Football Tactics and Glory for me.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I know you really enjoyed your time with that one, so
yeah. I feel like this would actually be really fun to like stream and have like two streamers,
going at it.
just yeah, firing volleys to each other's planets. And there's some cool strategy with this game. Like your shields that you build on your planet only work on like the side of the planet that they're built on. So if you're expecting like a volley from someone else's planet, you just better hope that your shields are on the right side,
Got to time the rotation. That's cool.
or you have to fire your rockets in a way that will be affected by gravity by something to hit somebody's planet in a spot where it's open.
Yeah, and it gives you like a predestined rocket path. So if you're getting ready to fire, you can aim at the planet, but you can see the path the rocket's going to take, but you've also got things moving. So you've got to kind of decide like, all right, if I angle it this way, will I hit it right? Okay, no, I've got to angle it this way. Now your trajectory is all messed up because there's a planet now entering the place. So it's I fired a lot of rockets and thought I was like perfect, but I could see how just the manipulation of the solar system as everything kept moving, how those paths and those routes were just you couldn't count on anything. I had rockets just fly off into deep space, and I was like, what?
Right. Like I'm looking at two planets shooting a laser kind of in a similar direction, and they cross paths, and they create a third bigger laser that shoots off in an opposite direction. Like, there's a lot of cool interaction in there. Yeah, I don't really have much else about this game.
If you can't picture what we're saying, I don't know if this will help or if this will hurt, and you can help me, John.
Yeah,
Picture a top-down, gravity-reliant Worms game.
yeah, I can see
Um,
that.
the concept is essentially the same. You're going around and through and everything obstacles
It's
trying
like
to take out another opponent.
you're playing it on like a Mass Effect 2 solar system map,
Yeah,
where you could see the orbits for each planet. Um, yeah, I don't know. This game just seems really fun to me.
yeah, and we mentioned it briefly, but if this is something that you think might be something you're interested in, there's a demo on Steam.
There is
Get over
absolutely
there, download the demo, check it out. I would recommend you. It's worth trying to get your head wrapped around. John actually, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I was glad that I had the experience with it because, again, I can't look at screenshots of a game like this and have any idea what I'm seeing. It
Yeah,
needs to
it's
be in
it's
motion or it needs to be played. And I think with the free demo there, go nuts. The Steam
yeah,
version itself is $12.99, so it's a $13 game. But do try out the demo. It might be right up your alley.
it is on consoles, like it is on PS4. It's on it's is it on Xbox? Oh, it is on Xbox One, of course, because it's that's what we got it for. Um, it's on Switch. It's on Mac. Yeah, you play it wherever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is it mobile? Did you say mobile?
No, it's not on mobile.
Not mobile. Okay.
Just Switch.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, I ask that because the developer, for the longest time, their first games were all exclusively on Windows Phone 7.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of game jams and
Yeah.
doing a lot of mobile stuff, which kind of surprised me that they went to Interplanetary. It's like that was their bigger breakout. It was like a Kickstarter, I think, where it's like an early access game,
Hmm.
and then eventually came out as Interstellar Enhanced Edition. So I wasn't sure if they were the original developers of it or not. So that took me down like a 20-minute rabbit hole of
Which
trying
is
to see if like
easy to do for this podcast.
yeah, is there another company that made this other game that they kind of built a more arcadey version of? But no, it was them. So
Yeah, aesthetically the games are very different, but you can see how. Again, I haven't played Interplanetary, but I watched a little bit of gameplay just to try to understand what it was, and I can see how Warbital was created off of
yeah,
Interplanetary. So,
yep, yep.
um,
It is a much bright. Oh, like graphics wise, it's a lot brighter than Interplanetary.
yeah, it's got
It's
a much
cartoon,
more
there's like
playful
cartoon
aesthetic.
characters. Yes, so a lot more appealing to the eye, I'd
Yeah.
say.
But that's about all I've got for Warbital. I mean, critical reception. It's a very average to above average score. PC version sits at a 76, while the other versions don't have a score. Now, this just released, I think, recently on Xbox One
I
and
think so. Yeah,
PlayStation 4, so it hasn't been out that long. Um, and then Open Critic rating is currently fair, with the top critic average being 74, with 75% of critics recommending it. So, very cool. Yes, check out Orbital, since it has the free demo. But that's our third game. What say we take a little break?
that is typically break time for us. So yeah.
All right, we'll be back in a jiff. And we're back. Welcome to part two. John, how was your break?
It's good. Got some water.
Nice. Kate and Jack are upstairs making cookies.
Oh, that sounds way better than water.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm pretty excited. It smells delicious up there.
Wait. What kind of cookies are they?
I don't know. Yes, I do. They're
Ginger,
ginger
gin.
cookies. Not ginger cookies.
They're ginger flavored cookies, not gingerbread.
Not gingerbread. No, they are
They're not
no. They are. Are they ginger? I don't know. They're cookies, which I'm not. I'm not picky. All right. It's not like we're talking roguelite here. You know.
Well, it might be. So you see, the online consortium of gingerbread people have decided that ginger cookies need to be a certain specification compared to gingerbread,
Ah.
which come in loaves and are shaped like people.
Listen, my wife watches the British baking show constantly.
Why do the British know?
I.
What have they ever made?
That's right. They got their metric system and their
Their English language.
fun accents.
Yeah.
Bless their hearts. We've got some Brits in the community.
And we do.
Good people all around. Solid folks. Anyways, part two.
Part dose.
John, why don't you introduce the viewers to what our fourth game is?
Yeah, this is a series that I'm not a fan of. I do not like this series. It is
What?
this is the second entry of it. It is Dragon's Lair 2 colon Time Warp. Uh, Dragon's Lair is of course a famous arcade game where you play as Dirk the Daring trying to save Princess Daphne. Is she a princess?
She's a
Yes,
Daphne. That's all I know. For I think she was a princess in the first game. It doesn't appear that she is a princess in the second game.
this description does say princess.
Okay.
So this is, of course, the sequel to Dragon's Lair. The it's the entire QTE. Uh, like, is it a roguelike? Is this a roguelike? Actually,
Ew, no, I don't
oh,
think so.
actually, the first game is procedurally generated, I believe.
It does have, yeah, it has. There's some random elements to
There
it. I don't
are
know if I'd
yeah,
go so far as to say it's procedurally generated.
it's a quick time event roguelike. Roguelite?
Oh no,
What's Chris?
I don't know.
Is it a roguelite?
It's got to be a rogue. This has got to be a rogue like if we're
It is.
going to even go there.
It is
I
kind of,
consider this a QTE adventure game.
sure. It's a choose your own adventure where the only way to really continue is by messing up and learning what you did wrong.
Yeah, this is a game that I think I'm justified in saying that this is a game that takes no skill. It takes trial and error.
Right. It's memorization. It's a memory game, and that's why I do not like this series. It's not that it's not that it's not a game because it is. It looks very pretty.
There are
All the
redeeming
animation
qualities.
is done
Yes.
by the Sullivan Bluth company. So Don Bluth, if you're familiar with like an American Tale or like Five Goes West,
Yeah. If you're
and
not familiar with him, you will be shortly.
yes, he is. It's kind of like the fun alternative to Disney in the '90s and '80s.
Yes. And yeah, you had mentioned Sullivan Bluth, published by Philips Interactive because we have the Philips CDI version.
Oh, we do. Yes.
Yes, and this was released in 1994, but it is also available on Android, Arcade,
Mhm.
Blu-ray disc player, DVD player, iPad, iPhone, Macintosh, Nintendo DSi, PlayStation 3, Windows, Philips CDI, which is what we're covering, Amiga, Atari ST, and DOS.
Hmm.
So it's made the rounds.
Yes, it sure has. Which is kind of cool. It could be these are the few games that you could have playable on like a Blu-ray player or a DVD player. I remember playing the first Dragon's Lair on on a on a Laserdisc player at like a Kohl's.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's cool in that aspect that you could just play it by like hitting enter or a direction button. So like you don't need a traditional console or an arcade machine to play this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So your experience at Kohl's,
Uh huh.
was
Yes.
it the second one or the first one?
I think it's the first one.
The first one. Okay, so in the
Yeah,
first
because that's
one,
like when consumer Laserdisc was getting it. It's either a Laserdisc or it was the CDI.
okay.
It's one of those two things.
My guess is that your short time at Kohl's, while your parents probably did some shopping or something to that effect, you probably made it as far as I did in that game.
Yeah,
I honest to God, don't think I ever made it past the first screen in that game.
yeah, it's probably the first screen. What I was, if this was CDI, it was what like 1994 ish.
Right.
Is that when
Yep.
the CDI came out?
Well, that's when the game came out. I don't know when the CDI came out specifically.
Right. So I would have been like 7 at that time. So no, I was not getting past the the first screen of Dragon's Lair when I'm
Yeah.
7 in the Coles around Christmas time. No, there are other things to do.
So yeah, you kind of covered a little bit about you covered a little bit about like the characters, but yeah, Time Warp is the sequel to the original arcade.
Right. It is.
Once again, you're Dirk the Daring. brave and dashing knight who, with a little bit of skill and a lot of luck, must once again rescue his princess Daphne. A lot of luck.
A
Um,
lot of trial and error.
yes, writing down directions. This time, Daphne has been kidnapped through A Wrinkle in Time. That's a good book. By the evil wizard Mordrock, and it's up to Dirk to rescue her before she's forced into marriage.
Uh-huh.
The PlayStation 3 and iPhone version have an original game mode as well as a director's cut with a different ending that was not featured in the original arcade game. I should have looked that up.
How
The
weird.
Macintosh version also had the director's cut ending, but it also some of the versions also came with watch game mode. The entire game can be viewed as a full movie without input from the player. That's how I want to play this game.
I did play this game like that today when I watched the whole thing on YouTube.
And that is exactly what I did as well.
Uh,
How long did it take?
so that one was like 20 minutes, but
20 minutes.
they did have to. They got like close to a checkpoint and died a couple of times. So like
Um,
it wasn't a perfect playthrough.
See, I watched the perfect run, and this game can be beaten 10 minutes in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, that sounds right. The weird thing about this is like there are what seem like optional things you can do. There's golden special items around the scenes that'll pop up like an arrow, a bow, a golden apple, a sword that Dirk can pick up to actually complete the game. You can't finish the game without those. I thought I read. It will warp you back at the end of the game back to the first one that you missed.
Oh, really? Okay, because when I read, it said that the hidden golden treasures were optional.
Yeah, I also read that too. So it's like weirdly conflicting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know which is true for that. I don't care.
It's-
Do not care because I watched the end of that playthrough and they didn't do anything with those items. So I I don't see what the point was.
yeah, gameplay wise, this game does zero for me. It's a quick time with, but it's not like a quick time like you would think, like quick press A button, quick press B button. It's
It
sections
is,
of the screen flash, and you just or no, they don't. They flash when you make a selection,
yeah,
but the timing, there's nothing that tells you when to make a decision.
right,
So the trial by error is not just or trial by error, yeah, trial and error. Sorry, is not just by what button you push to go where. It's the time at which you have to do it.
right.
So to watch the flawless run was crazy. I don't want to play this game, but I would recommend everybody watch the playthrough. It'll be in the Discord on Friday.
Yeah,
It is that game is a trip. Um,
I think it uses the time warp concept pretty loosely. Uh,
yeah, yeah. The one of the
it's
areas they went to, I was like, well, this has
like,
nothing to
oh
do with
yeah,
time.
like oh, we're going through Alice in Wonderland
Yeah,
because that's an actual place in time. But like
yeah,
Dirk is trying to chase. Is it Mordrock?
yeah.
Mordrock?
Trying to rescue Daphne, who's been kidnapped by Mordrock.
Yeah, Mordrock. So he finds a time machine that looks like it's out of uh, is it H.R. Geiger? Is that
Yeah,
who wrote?
I don't know. I was
Or,
getting real uh, uh, Stargate
oh,
vibes.
sorry, H.G. Wells. Sorry, H.G. Wells. I'm an idiot. This is your Johnson idiot moment of the week.
I was about to say Geiger. That's the Scorn video game coming out, right?
Uh, Probably. Uh, so he finds a time machine that he can control with his sword. That's possessed by the brother of Mordrock. That's telling you like how to rescue Daphne. It's very jumbled also because all of these things are happening while like people are talking while you're trying to uh, like enter directional or button presses, and none of it really makes sense, and you're not really listening to what anybody's saying. Um, yeah, I don't know.
While I
Dirk,
was sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Dirk goes to a bunch of different places, like to Beethoven's house, um, to what is there a Jack and the Beanstalk
Uh,
situation?
no, that
Oh,
was the Garden of
that's
Eden.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so he definitely gets places. Now, the best way to take this in, and again, I'm going to reiterate again, gameplay does nothing for me. I'm not going to play this game, but I would watch this again. It was like it's 10 minutes long, and it is like nonstop action. If you
Yes,
watch like a perfect playthrough of this, like I couldn't look away. It was I was like almost exhausted watching it. Like it was cool as hell. Um, but yeah, I'll post the link. I strongly encourage you to check it out. First off, we mentioned with Tongue of the Fat Man how the graphics were ahead of their time.
yeah.
I don't think I think it's safe to say that a game like this, Dragon's Lair, even pushes that envelope farther. The animation is so amazing
It's
for a
full
video.
on movie quality Don Bluth uh, animation,
Yeah,
which is incredible.
yeah, it is really really cool. It yeah it's an awesome 10-minute short.
Right.
That's how it should be enjoyed. But it yeah it goes some places. Did you? I didn't realize that the dragons. So it's the second game in the series, but there is a Dragon's Lair trilogy.
Right. There's a Dragon's Lair 3.
Well, the trilogy though does not have a Dragon's Lair 3.
Does have Dragon's Lair 3D?
No, it's Sky Captain. Sky, what is it? Uh let me look it up because it was because there's like arcade cabinets out there as well that are Dragon Slayer trilogy cabinets, but the third game is not a Dragon Slayer game.
Is it Space Ace?
Space Ace, yeah.
Space Ace. Yep. That was the one that they did between Dragon's Lair and Dragon's Lair 2. Actually, a lot of things were completed between Dragon's Lair and Dragon's Lair 2, which we'll probably get into soon.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting that the part of the Dragon Slayer trilogy is a game that's like ultra futuristic.
I mean, Space Ace is Dragon's Lair in space.
Is that what it is? I didn't see anything on it. I was, you know, one of those things that didn't come up.
There's a guy named Dexter, and it's like a lot of like Buck Rogersy looking uh, 50s and earlier space sci-fi stuff. It's you would know it if you saw it. I think we could probably post some of those images in the Discord as well.
Okay.
Um, I don't see why not. But yeah, it's Dragon's Lair in space. It's
Okay.
the board down version of it.
Nice. So with the Dragon's Lair 2, so they actually started development, and that would have been, I think, the animation aspect of things. They started that in 1984, which was right after the release of Dragon Age 1. But this game didn't actually make it to arcades until 1991. That nowadays, a 7-year development cycle is a long time. And back then, that's unprecedented.
Right.
Game
Yeah.
would
And
turn out within a year and a half. This was
there,
forever.
there were some issues that happened. So the actual animation for this was done within 3 years.
Yep.
So I think they actually start the animation right away in '83.
Yeah,
I think.
I think I saw a reference to both 83 and 84. I think the 83 is right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and this didn't show up in the arcade till '91, but it did show up on. Uh, it did show up finished on other platforms in '90.
It did. Okay, what would the
Yes.
other
So
platforms have been?
it was on Amiga, this Super Turbo. It says ST and DOS in November '90.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and then it was in arcades on June 16th, '91. Now those are different. uh, those are just different ways that they're processed, anyways, right? So, like your DOS and Amiga versions are going to be lower res versions of this.
Right.
If you look at screenshots of the Amiga version, it it looks like something that you would imagine a 1991 game looking like. Um, let's see here. Where did I see?
Maybe we'll have to throw some Amiga. The screenshots I grabbed were the high res ones, so maybe we'll have to
Yeah,
grab some from the other consoles and just their other platforms and throw them in the Discord as well.
yeah. There's something about like they did the transition using VHS tapes and going from like Laserdisc to VHS. There was a loss in quality, so they had to like redraw some of the assets once they did the transfer to bring back some of the details
Interesting. Okay.
for those versions. Dragon's Lair 2 spans 6 floppy disks.
Yeesh.
Uh, they express that this is due to higher resolution imagery than previous Laserdisc games by the Bluth Group, such as Space Ace. I believe the arcade versions were still using Laserdiscs. Oh, here it is. Due to the arcade version of Dragon's Lair 2 having been unreleased at this stage in development, the game's home computer versions were ported using a VHS tape as a reference, as opposed to a Laserdisc. Foster expressed in regards to this that conversion is obviously easier with a Laserdisc, as you can get good quality freeze frame. We digitize a series of images from the Laserdisc, then we separate the foreground from the background, giving each element to the respective artist to touch up, which includes outlining all of the characters. When you're converting from a high resolution Laserdisc to a lower resolution screen, a lot of detail is lost, so a lot of it has to be put back in. The conversion is then edited to match the 16 color palette to that of the original footage and compressed. It's like on average, it takes about 2 hours of 68030 computer time. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that number. To compress a single frame, that's thousands of computer hours in all. So we have 4 machines with 25 megahertz processor speed working on it.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's from the ports of the Amiga ST and DOS versions of this. So if you look at screenshots and you see like really low res versions, that's from those versions. Every other version is from the Laserdisc or newer.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So Digital Leisure, I believe, has the publishing rights to this game now. And I went to their website, and the website actually has a move-by-move walkthrough for both games.
Oh wow.
So they have accepted that this game is not a lot of fun to play. Like, here you go, enjoy.
You still have to time it.
You do still have to time it. Yeah, it's not like that makes it easier. That just makes it less mind-numbingly awful to try to figure out on your own.
Perfect.
But
With this one being linear compared to the other one, I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that's I mean, getting into the development now a little bit, like the developer, I should say. The obviously known for the Dragon's Lair games, but I wanted to focus specifically on Don Bluth because he has quite the resume outside of games.
Yes.
He worked on the following movies as the director. Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say more so outside of games.
Yes.
This is really the only forays into it. Or like this in space.
Yeah, as his movie credits go, as the director, he worked on An American Tail, The Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Thumbelina, Anastasia, which I spelled wrong, unfortunately wrong, and Titan AE. Now, strictly, yeah, that.
I didn't get the official novelization of that, and only read like half of it. Never saw the movie. It seemed really cool.
It did seem like a cool movie. I've never seen it either.
It was like Fern Gully in space.
Right.
That reminded me of.
Then he also worked strictly as an animator on Sleeping Beauty, Sword in the Stone, one of I think my favorite Disney movie, um, Robin Hood, The Rescuers, Pete's Dragon, and The Fox and the Hound. Like,
Some good
wow,
pedigree. Yeah,
that is, yeah. He turned out some bangers, as they say in the biz.
sure did. Sure did.
Nobody says that in the business. Um,
Uh, let's talk to some animators. Let's find out.
that's right. Ask him the real hard hitting questions. Do you ever turn out bangers, sir?
Did you ever say bangers? When you talk about good things that you've done, you refer to them as bangers?
And that's when they pointed at me and said, "Get out."
Get
Left. And that's why we don't do interviews on the show. No, I'm just kidding.
why we can never say bangers again.
so, um, so there's still a lot of ways to play this game. It is available right now on Steam for $9.99.
Mm-hmm.
I saw today when I went to istthereanydeal.com. There is a 15% discount code right now if you get it from Gamersgate, which brings it to 846. On iOS, it is $6.99, so it is on mobile now.
Makes
Google
sense.
Google Play is $4.99, and then it's actually included in PlayStation Now. So if that's something that you subscribe to, you have access to it.
It's very neat.
Yeah, and then the Dragon's Lair trilogy, if you want to experience the entire the whole journey all the way to space. It's $20.49 on Steam. It saves you 30% over buying each individual game.
Huh. So before we move on from this, I think we have a little bit more to talk about the development. So we did talk about that a lot of the animation was done years and years before this game actually released. So there was this game was put on hold after the video game crash. Yeah, so let's see here. What does this say? In about 1983, some prototype animation material for Dragon's Lair sequel was produced, but due to the lack of an agreement between Cinematronics and the animator Don Bluth, this material sat unused for years, eventually becoming part of Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp. So a lot of what they ended up using in this game was stuff that Bluth had done back in the 80s, back in the early 80s, and they tied it together, I believe, with the time travel elements. So that's why you go to like a lot of weird, not quite tiny places. It's like you have your Alice in Wonderland, your Adam and Eve, your Beethoven's house, tripping out with Beethoven. I had read a thing saying that they originally got out of the sequel. Let's see here. The collapse of the video game industry in 1983 and early 84 halted production of Dragon's Lair 2. Cinematronics, now in debt and trying to cut its own losses, froze fees and royalties over $3 million to Bluth Group, driving the studio once again into bankruptcy. The unfinished sequel to Dragon's Lair, despite having almost all of its animation footage completed, remained unreleased until 1991. So this game probably would have seen the light of day half a decade earlier. But there were, it seems like, some legal issues between these two companies. Some sort of a bad blood there, but I don't have all of the details on it. But it's just weird that it threw up some red flags when I saw that this game released like 7-8 years after the original, when that was a huge hit, and that most of the production was already done in like 84, 85. So
yeah, and you'd think like, I mean, Dragon's Lair 1 was the prototypical arcade cabinet. I mean, that's the thing.
right.
It served two purposes. It was beautiful to look at, so it drew people in, and it ate your quarters
It sure did.
like just
Oh my god.
unyieldingly. I mean, you
Yeah.
could not get anywhere in that game. Like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said I never made it past the first screen of that game because it's super hard. So yeah, you would think that they'd be in a hurry to like, let's get that sequel out. Let's keep this train a rolling. So
Right. I mean, they did Space Ace right after it. So they did Dragon's Lair, then Space Ace, and then they were working on Dragon's Lair 2, and then all that kind of fell apart.
yeah,
Um, one other interesting thing about the arcade release of Dragon's Lair, and I think Dragon's Lair 2, is that they are actually run off of Laserdisc machines. So they aren't a typical arcade board that you would find like Pac-Man on, but it's actually running a Laserdisc to get that proper animation quality, that big screen look, if you will.
interesting.
Yeah,
And the cabinets themselves always looked really cool from the outside, like the
right.
art and stuff like
You
that.
get that Don Bluth art on there.
Yeah,
Just it pops. It's real nice. Anyways, I think that's about all I have on El Dragon's Lair, Dose,
yeah.
Timey Warpy.
I am tapped out on that as well.
It goes places. Still don't really like it, but yeah, watch that playthrough on our Discord
Yeah,
later.
it's cool. I'll also post the trailer if you want to
Go watch Bible Goes West. Go watch All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah, go watch his movies.
Go
Yeah,
watch Goblins.
I will say I think that everything that he's done though, nothing more action packed than the 10 minutes of Dragon Lair 2 Time Warp that I saw. I was sweating while watching it.
Yeah, it goes places.
All right, let's move on to our fifth and final game. Now, next week, you guys will know what game this is. Being our fifth game, not this game. Well, you will know what game. Never mind.
You know already. At the beginning of this episode, go back if you weren't listening.
Yes, I'm not an idiot. That was a test.
I'm not editing that out. So here we go.
Our
Next
fifth,
game this week.
yes, our fifth and final game for episode 4 is SimTown.
I like
Developed
a sit
developed by Maxis Software, published by Maxis. Genre: it is a simulation / city builder, released in 1995, released on the Mac, the SNES, Windows, and Windows 3 point whatever operating system.
Yeah.
Did you ever play SimTown?
I did actually. I
You
did play
did?
SimTown.
Okay,
I
I never
played
did.
it on like Windows 95.
Interesting.
And I was probably around the right age. Like this is SimCity for kids. This is targeted, I believe, for 6 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, in fact, the Super Famicom and maybe the SNES version here as well is actually called SimCity Junior.
Yeah. Also in Japan, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, this game is a town builder, a city builder, where you're making not so much a giant commercially viable city, but you're making a traditional small town. So you're going to have different businesses like a burger shop, I think you could have. Can you have movie theaters? There's a bunch of different.
There's arcades.
A Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. The goal of this game is more making a functional city or functional town, small town. So you're worried about like the water consumption. Like your resources are water, wood, and crops. There's actually no money that's spent, so you don't have to worry about building costs outside of how much water and wood they take. And the main thing that you need to worry about crops for are your population. So you can have like families of like, I think they only do like the quote unquote traditional nuclear family of 2 parents, 2 kids, and a pet. But what's cool about this game is every person has like likes and dislikes and wants for your town. So everyone will have an opinion on what they want to see in the town. and what they would want to bring to the mayor to improve the town, or what they would want to get rid of, like what they have a problem with, and you can kind of weigh people's happiness by like what kind of fast food places you have, whatever other buildings you have, if the recycling is on point or not. Yeah, it's a cool little kid sim city.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the SimCity franchise, all the way up until the last one, which I know was not wildly loved, but this was one that I never had a chance to play, but I did watch a little bit. It's it I can see why it's SimCity for kids.
Yep,
I think
everything's
aesthetically,
very
it's
very close to the ground. Like you can zoom in super far
yeah,
and see that creepy clown face on the side of the burger shop.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. The aesthetics definitely speak to somebody who's a little bit younger, a little more. It's a lot more bright, a lot more colorful. Um, I mean, it looks like a good time.
yeah,
From what I saw. Now you mentioned that there's no money. Did are there points though that you have to designate for things? There's some sort of point system that they said was integrated, but I didn't really understand what
I
that was.
don't remember
Okay,
actually.
because
Yeah,
but it said you only get like 2 to 5 points per month or something. So I was like, well, I have no idea how to use that then.
yeah, I don't either. I think that depends on like what difficulty you set it to.
Okay, huh?
Here's some count points. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, honestly, there it didn't feel like there was a ton to dig into on SimTown. It's
No, it's really like you can customize the people that live there, so you can customize like their face, their clothes, like what color of clothes they're wearing. But a lot of it is trying to make people happy, make the town happy, keep the town up and running. Like if you're running out of water, like uh, your town's going to kind of like dry out, and like your buildings are going to start to look worse. They have some cool visual modifications as like your town gets into like a bad territory, where you need to like then figure out how do you I don't know if it's more you need to make more water sources, like build more ponds or whatever. I don't recall. Um,
the
yeah,
they look like, yeah, they have like a separate resource menu, and you may have touched on this earlier, but you're responsible for growing the resources that you
mhm.
need. I am assuming then that means also like enhancing your water supply in some way.
Right.
So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean it's I had trouble going into a lot of detail on it because it's Sim City with things stripped out. Um, but I think that there's a good place for this kind of a game. It is. I mean, a 6 to 12 year old. Now, granted, when I was, I think, 10 or 11 was the first time I played Sim City, so I was able to play Sim City fine. Um, but you know, back then, I think that this was a perfectly good introduction to. I mean, what is a franchise that still is going strong, and the Sim brand is everywhere.
Yeah.
Along those lines, I mean, we can probably transition into Maxis and talk a little bit about them.
Yeah. I mean, Maxis has been doing big things for for a long time.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, is Maxis itself still a? Yeah, they are still around. Okay.
yeah, yeah. They're still there's if it has Sim in the title, odds are Maxis had something to do with it. I was trying to find games that fell outside that spectrum, and they've made a lot of games, and this was a hard thing to do. But I saw a couple Tony La Russa baseball games. Um,
Very nice.
they were responsible for a game called Spore. That game is that's a cool game.
That's a cool game.
Um, but yeah, I mean, even today they're basically exclusively working on SimCity content. The Sims is their biggest thing. They're releasing content for that all the time, and they actually do still release content for Spore. Now, I think a lot of fans are hoping that Maxis's Maxis that their next move would be like a Sims 5, because I think that
Yeah.
they're going on to the fifth one now, right?
Uh, yeah, I mean the Sims 4 came out back in like 2014.
Yeah, so it's probably about that time. I don't know if they'll take another crack at the SimCity franchise now that City Skylines exist, but and that last one was not super well liked.
It had a bunch of issues,
Yeah,
and that was they maybe bit off more than they could chew or release that game way too early. I think they fixed a lot of the issues, but
at that point, everybody was playing City Skylines who wanted that experience.
right. And then they made a version of that SimCity for mobile. So I remember playing it on iPad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think it fits well there. Like SimCity, like light games, SimCity Light. What would you call a city sky?
A little city builder.
City Light.
Yeah.
City Light. I like these mini running gags that we have over here. Um, that just happens. Anyways,
It
um,
dawned on me what you were trying to do there, and I whiffed on it hard. I'm glad I did too.
let's go down to the criteria of a Sim City.
Ah, gross.
You see, The Sims. The Sims is a Sim City light. Um, the whole building genre or like city genre or roller coaster tycoon genre, I think would fit really well on tablets. I just don't know if we've found the right implementation of it yet. I haven't really played many recently. I know that they have roller coaster tycoons on there. Um, yeah, I wonder if any of those are good.
Yeah, I don't think I've tried anything on mobile.
Did you ever roller coaster tycoon? Did you ever play those?
I never did, but my wife loves them.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna. She also
So
likes the hospital sims. She's playing Two Point Hospital on the Switch. Although
I
I
used to
think she'd
play
rather play just what is it? Sim no Theme
Theme
Hospital.
Hospital. Theme Hospital. Theme
Yeah.
Hospital. I used to play that on Sega Saturn,
Okay.
but I didn't have a memory card, so I'd have to start over every time.
Oh, gross. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah, that's my Sega Saturn
Uh,
life.
to be a
Really bad
gamer in the '90s,
now.
you kids with your built-in hard drives.
In your cloud saves.
you, you don't know what it was like for us.
Back in my day, we had to download games both ways uphill.
That's right. I moved once. I lost a full memory card of like RPG saves. Oh,
I'll mention it again. My friend deleting my Final Fantasy VIII save when I was at Ultimecia.
have you beaten the game since?
Yes.
Okay, good. You at least got your. Okay, okay. It's not vengeance. That's not the right word. But
No. In a bet that ended up with me meeting my wife, which is
hey, you should be thanking him.
yeah, I do thank him. No, 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 no. I thank the person who I made the bet with that I failed and had to pay him back and didn't pay him back for a year. And the night that I paid him back, I met my wife.
There you go. So
So
it all came. It all ended positively.
yes, absolutely. All right, cool. So SimTown.
Yeah, I don't have too much else on SimTown. So well,
I don't.
it's. Oh, sorry. What?
I don't either. That's
All
it.
right. Well, it's that time then.
It is.
Let's put these in order from worst to first in
Where's
your
the first?
opinions.
Sure.
Uh, why don't I think I started off last week? So why don't you fire away?
Let me look at this list again quick. Yeah, I think my my number five is probably going to be Tongue of the Fat Man. And that would be because it's borderline unplayable to me. It looks really cool, but I really don't want to play it ever.
Okay. Yeah. Boy, I have actually got a. I've got a. I think. I think I'm with you. I think Tongue
Okay.
of the Fat Man. It's aesthetic aside, which is so pleasing to me. Um, I think even with a controller, I heard that that game is just it's
It turns out it's a fighting game on PC from 1989.
yeah. Well, even the like the Genesis version,
Oh
um,
yeah, me
like
too.
it is not control well at all. So
So what's the fighting game on the Genesis? It sounds awful. Three buttons? No, gross.
yeah, I think Tongue of the Fat Man is my my bottom of the list this week. What do you
All
got
right.
number four?
Number four is going to be Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp with a bullet. Um, I know you usually say that for like the last or first place, but um, I mentioned earlier I do not like Dragon's Lairs just for the repetition and needing to just memorize the right thing to do at the right time for I guess 10 whole minutes to do it properly or more if you don't do it properly. And also, while you're doing that, you're not really watching what's happening.
Yeah,
You can't enjoy everything that's happening around you. That's not fun.
yeah.
Anyways, that looks really cool. Watch it, but I'm not going to play it.
I had an incredible that's those are the two games that I was between bottom of the list. They're both so aesthetically pleasing and so horribly off-putting to play. And you know, Dragon's Lair might actually be worse to me when it comes from a playability perspective.
Yeah,
But whatever, however bad it is, I think about the video that I watch of somebody beating it, and I'm like, God, that was
yeah.
awesome. So for that reason, it gets number four on my list.
Number three for me, it's going to be SimTown. And it's SimTown because A, I like it. But B, I have outgrown it. I'm far outside of the age range. It might be something that I could introduce to a niece or nephew, but also these days that might be hard because it's a PC game from 1994, 1996. Um, yeah, SimTown. It's my number three.
Yeah, and that's I'm there with you. We're looking very similar right now. SimTown, again,
Holding hands through this whole thing.
that's right. I love the SimCity franchise. I never tried SimTown. I saw some gameplay of it. I don't even know that I would have gotten into it as a SimCity fan as a younger kid. I just think
Sure.
something about the evolution of a town, getting to a city, getting to a metropolis, like all of that stuff. I think that I was way into that back then, and without that kind of carrot to chase, I don't think
Mm,
SimTown would have been something that I was super interested in.
I don't even think I owned it. I think I borrowed it from a friend. So yeah. Number two, this is where it gets tough. Number two is Gripshift. Um, I think that's a game I'm probably going to play again. I'll probably play it soon. Um, but I'm not like itching to see more of it. I kind of get what it is, and I get that it's fun, and I like what it's doing. So that'll be my number two this week. How about you?
My number two is going to be Worbital. So this is where we divert paths. I was into the demo that I played. I thought it was cool. But that is not the one v one kind of setup multiplayer. It's not something that I'm typically drawn to. Some of the stuff that you said actually was sounded more impressive to me than what I saw and played. Just the idea that you can blow up the sun and have a black hole, and now you've got new gravitational pull and um, all that stuff. I think it's worth people checking out the demo of for sure to see if it's something that's in line with what you enjoy. But games like that, listen, and again, I'm going to go back to the worms game based on my limited experience. I've never gotten into those games. So it's and other games of the ilk. So while I think this game was cooler than I was expecting, uh, I think it's still going to take home number 2 for the week.
Okay, that's still very good. It beats out 3 other games.
Yes.
And number 1 for me is Worbital. I'm just excited about all of the physicsy stuff. I want to dig into what those other factions are and what their actual like technological differences are. And I want to see if this is actually only 2-player. It might be more, but I do not know, and I might find out.
It seems like it would be set up for maybe up to 4 players, although I bet it gets pretty crazy if that's the case.
Right, or if you have teams,
Yeah.
I think that'd be really sweet. Anyways, Warped seems very fun, and that's my surprise of the week.
Nice. That's cool. And that's why we do the podcast, because
Exactly.
Gripshift is my number 1 and my surprise of the week. If I would have known that this game existed prior to the podcast, I would have probably played it and I would remember it fondly. But having never played it and getting a chance to research it, that game is up my alley. With I'm a big fan of Trackmania. I'm a big fan of racing games. The car soccer thing, which I'll have to see what that's all about. But yeah, that's the kind of game that I could see myself getting into. So Gripshift is my number 1.
Excellent. Hey, that was a good week.
That was. I again, I don't think there was any absolute bangers like we've had before, like the ones that are going to dominate the conversation. Devil May Cry 2, Final Fantasy,
Right.
but I think there was a very good mix of games
Absolutely.
and some surprises. Got to look into some stuff that I've been wanting to look at for 4 weeks. Now we're going to get to the point where we have less games chosen since we've switched to the 5 games a week, and we've actually limited our time a little bit for how long we see future games. So, in fact, when we wrap up, we're going to draw games for 2 weeks out, which is exciting. I was that's one of my favorite parts of the show. It's like, what's coming up?
You're trying to do it last week. I'm like, dude, I have 2 minutes on my plate already. Just hold, please, for my sanity right now. Can we hold off? Yes, I'm also excited to see what we're going to have coming up here.
Yeah. But if you guys had as much fun with this episode as we did, please reach out. Let us know your thoughts. If you've played any of these games, if our conversation urged you to try any of these games for the first time, if you think we were dead wrong and Dragon's Lair 2 is a perfect gameplay masterpiece, let us know why.
Do you stand Dirk the Daring? let us know.
Do you also have a tongue in your belly when you fight people? Yeah, no, this was a fun week. I hope that you guys enjoy the show. If you have anything you'd like to chime in about, please reach out to pgshowinbox@gmail.com. You can follow us at PG_show on Twitter. You can reach out to our Patreon, which will be listed in the show notes, but it is patreon.com/procedurally generated. Our Discord has been updated. As I said last week, it is specific to procedurally generated now. And we've got episode specific content that we're throwing in the Discord to kind of enhance your experience with the show. So looking forward to any feedback you guys can offer on any of those sources. And then, like, as we stated before, we're both Twitch streamers. You can find us on Twitch, CW719 and John Carson Games.
Sure can.
But let's take a real quick second to thank our patrons who remain supporters. We've got Jody and Mecha Sprite at the $25 platinum tier. We've got X-Chin at the $15 gold tier. We've got the Lone Wolf and Tori Glumac at the $7 silver tier, and Aussie Gamer, Jean Carson, and Jason Daphnis at the $3 bronze tiers. Thank you guys so much for the support. And as a last ask, if you really enjoyed the show, please leave us a review.
I've seen some 5-star reviews on the old Apple podcast. So
God, you'd love to see
thank you everyone who's done that. We appreciate it. Keep it up if you can.
Yes, that'll be crucial in helping us grow, helping us reach a larger audience, grow the community, and just continue to kind of enhance everybody's experience. So yes, and aside from leaving the review, if you have friends you think that might enjoy this podcast, please tell them about it. Share it on your Twitter feeds. Share it on Facebook. We would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, John, do you have anything else that you want to go over? You got anything coming up this week that you're looking forward to? Nothing huge, right?
I might stream some more now that things are set up. Now that I've been playing some World of Warcraft, that's going to be a big chunk of time. And I'm at my computer anyways. I might as well just throw up the stream. Come hang out if you see me online. Otherwise, like Chris said, join the Discord. I want to get that thing up and running. Getting some more people talking in there. So
yeah, it has been. I mean, from our experience, it's been a little quiet on the front. You know, we're still getting rolling, so we're these things take time. But
a lot of the previous conversation has moved over to the Cryophilic Discord. So now that Procedurally Generated has taken over, we can start making it our own.
That's right.
So
we got all the fluff out of there, so it's ready for
a dedicated ska channel. Ska videos all day, every day. We'll make a World of Warcraft channel, anime channel. Let's do it.
Perfect.
I don't think any of that's happening. Chris is over there probably like rubbing his eyebrows. Just what?
Hey, I watched an anime before we started recording. I'm almost done with the lone season of Devil May Cry.
Oh, good. Oh, you did watch it.
I did, yeah. Now, to be fair, I don't have any idea what's going on because I keep watching it when I got other things going on, and since it's subtitled, I don't have any idea what I'm missing. But the action's fun, and Dante looks cool.
Yeah, if there's words on the screen, you should probably pay attention.
I know. I should. That ship is.
Anyways, let's bring this home for the people.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you guys again. Have a great week. We will see you next week for episode 5 and our first ever community choice game. Look forward to the Patreon on Friday when we have the new vote up. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks. See you next week.